back to the channel. Now, it's very rarely I get the chance nowadays to actually make something for myself, but today's going to be the day. What I'm after is a small kind of fruit bowl to put on my desk at work, just to keep a few healthy snacks in. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. But anyway, I'm going to use this piece of brown oak, and this kind of style of bowl I want is a kind of Icelandic Koben style bowl. So you'll see what that is in a little while. The outside I want to try and make as black as I can, with maybe a bit of texture as well, and the inside entirely natural. It's going to need to be food safe, so we'll need to consider that. We're going to be mounting at the start with a worm screw, so I've got a centre hole already marked. So we'll get sharpened up, get the hole drilled, and we'll get started. Right, when I normally start off a bowl, I start in the corner and start working the curve from there, rather than bothering to try and get the bowl round at the start. But this design is slightly different, so we don't need this big curve. So we're going to flatten off the bottom, square up the sides, and then start the design from that point. Okay, we'll start turning at about 800. The style of this bowl is quite simplistic. We have two distinct angles. We have this inner edge coming down to about a 2/3 point from the inside, sloping out, and then from the bottom of the bowl sloping outwards to meet that point. That's probably not a great explanation, so I'll start making these cuts along this line, and you'll soon get the gist of it. Right, and that's that. Now, traditionally this kind of bowl is very, very flat on the bottom, but I don't necessarily always like that kind of style, so I'm going to make a slight alteration and put a very, very slight gradient on here and give it a nice little foot at the base to sit on. Just quickly mark up where my tendon's going to be. Okay, now we're going to give it a light sand. We don't need to do the full hog for reasons which will become apparent very, very soon. Right, and that's that. The reason why the sanding is so brief is because we're going to burn it. Now, burning things is always fun, but please bear in mind the usual kind of safety precautions. I'm going to wear gloves because things are going to get hot. I've brushed off a lot of the sawdust around the surrounding area, or the immediate area, so nothing can catch fire. And I've got some water and a fire extinguisher very, very close to hand. I'm just using a normal standard blowtorch. I'm not trying to get it to catch fire, I'm just trying to char the surface. Okay, stage one done. Now with the same grade 80 grit sandpaper, I'm just going to give this a very, very light going over again. Now what that burning has done, it's just raised the grain to give us a bit more texture in the piece. Previously, I've used a kind of wire brush to do the same thing, but what I've found from that is that the wire brush can leave scrapes in the wood, which means you just have to go over and sand it again anyway. So I'm just going to skip a step by going straight for the sanding. It's a little chance to cool down, so I'm just going to go on with a black spirit stain. I'm going to apply it with a sponge. Okay, we'll give that a couple of seconds to dry, or probably more than a couple of seconds, but we'll let this dry and then we'll come back in a little while and put a finish on it. Okay, that's had plenty of time to dry. The residual heat in the wood has certainly helped the process. Now traditionally, again, this would just be an oil finish with a mineral oil or something like that, but we have our linseed oil and beeswax mix, which is going to make a beautiful finish for this. It's going to give the wood a nice luster, and it'll be a nice food safe, long lasting finish. I'm going to apply a couple of coats of this. I'll let you watch one, and then I'll bring you back in a second when I've turned it around and we can hollow out the inside. Okay, we're turned around. I'll go and put a fresh grind on the ball gouge. We'll start hollowing this out. Time to take a quick look, check the depths, make sure that we're not going to be going through the bottom. Okay, we'll go a little bit further without worrying too much. There we go. Sorry, something just fell over behind me. Right, okay. We'll start sanding this. I'll let you watch the start, and I'll bring you back when it's done. we're nearly free. We're nearly home. Right, last thing is now to put the finish on the inside. No need for a sealer. Straight on with our beeswax and linseed oil finish. And again, I'm going to put a couple of coats on. You can watch the first one, then I'll put on the second, and then we'll take a look at the finished article. Okay, I'll put a second coat on of this, and I'll bring you back in a second. Right, and there we have it. A Koben style Icelandic bowl made especially for me. The actual contrast between the black and the brown oak is just absolutely gorgeous. This is just what I set out to try and create. I've always had a kind of soft spot for this style of classic design, and I'm so pleased now I've finally got one. That's one of the great things about bowl turning, is that if you see something you like, then you can just nip onto the lathe and have a go and see if you can do it. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe and all of that. And if you leave a comment as well, then you're going to be entered into the giveaway when we get to our 1 year anniversary, which is on the 16th of March, which is about, well, yeah, it's just early next month, so not far away now. So anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.